Hi everyone, and welcome to Comic Book Corner, and this is your host Spider Slayer. And I just got done watching another episode of Walking Dead, actually episode 9, TriggerFinger. That is right, TriggerFinger. But before we get started, I just wanted to show you guys something real quick. I did not have this issue in my Walking Dead stash, but I just did get this. And it's not the original print, but it's from the Walking Dead Weekly, and it's issue number 19. And that's right, it has Michonne on there with her sword holding the two zombies with no arms and no jaws. To me, that's the best cover for me in the Walking Dead covers in the whole comic book series. I think it's awesome. Love it. I just wanted to show you that real quick. So back to the review. This particular episode for me was good. A lot of story, not too much action going on in this particular episode. No real cliffhanger, just a build up towards the whole Shane versus Rick thing. And it looks like between those two characters, shit's going to hit the fan. What's going to happen to Shane? I don't know. I don't think they're going to kill off Rick. It's possible that they kill off Shane. Who knows? But if Shane goes, he's a major player in this story, in the show. So, starting from the beginning, episode number 9, TriggerFinger is the actual name of the episode. And in the opening scenes, we basically see Lori waking up in the car that was crashed. So her car was crashed, and the next thing you see is some zombie going going through the glass, trying to get her, and she's trying to escape. And she falls on the ground, and she's straggling all over the place. And she takes the screwdriver and she goes right in the face, and the zombie's dead. So she gets off, and the next thing you see is that there's another zombie walking through, and she gets out and she takes the hubcap and she sits there and she whacks the thing right in the face. It's like boom, and she takes the gun and she shoots her. And for the first time in the 2 seasons that this show's been on, Lori's got a set of balls on her, and she takes care of those zombies, and she's still going after her man. So I give her props in this episode. She proved herself to me in this episode again. So going back to the bar, we had Herschel and Rick, and they're going to leave, and then they notice that they got a bunch of company, and it was Tony and the other guys' friends, and they're saying that we just want to see our friends. We want to make sure they're okay. And basically, what happens is that Rick doesn't know what to do, so he feels that the right thing to do is to reason with these guys, and maybe hopefully they'll go away. Well, that's not the case. All of a sudden, there's a firefight that breaks out, and they start shooting, and all kinds of chaos breaks loose. In between this whole thing now is that we see the group back at the bar, and they're having dinner, and they're like, "Hey, where's Lori? Oh, hey, have you seen your mom all day? No. She's missing. Oh, shit." Shane's like, "What? She's missing?" And it's just like, oh God, we didn't know. I mean, where the hell can the girl go all day? I mean, they're all together all day in this barn, so where can they go? And they just notice her now missing. So whatever. So that was that. But basically, what's going on now is that there's that firefight that's still going on, and basically once Shane finds out that Lori's missing, he kind of flips his lid and he peels off in his Hyundai. Nice new Hyundai for zombie apocalypse, right? And he goes and he's going to try to go find Lori. So now back at the bar, the big plan is for the group, or for these 3 guys, to just make a run for it and get into the car and try to escape. And then basically what happens is Glenn is going to run to the car, and the next thing you see is Herschel got his back. Dude, seriously, Herschel, I don't know. I mean, I would be scared, but Herschel goes, or Glenn goes to run the car, and Herschel all of a sudden shoots, and he hits the guy like it was nothing. I was like, damn, Herschel, you got game, boy. So, he takes care of that, and Glenn was like crying like a baby too, because he was all scared and everything else. He kind of froze up at the whole situation. And the next thing we see is that these guys that were in this firefight with Herschel, Rick, and Glenn saw a whole bunch of roamers um, going around town, and they're basically just gonna leave the bar, and it's like, get out of here, we just gotta leave them. And then the other two guys are like, please, please. You see one guy trying to jump off the roof, and he falls on the fence, and one guy's just left for dead, and the other guy just peel out and leave him. So you see one guy that was shot, he's just sitting there and getting eaten alive by zombies, like, he's getting all eaten and shit. And then the next thing you see is the other guy on the fence, and they go like, come on, let's go. And they're like, oh God, we can't leave this guy here. So Rick and the group is trying to get this guy off the fence, and there's this whole horde of zombies coming, and they're shooting him off, and their whole grand scheme of thing was to try to amputate his leg off in a matter of a couple minutes. So they're going to try to do it, and it's just too late. They can't do it in time. So the best part of this whole show was when Rick and this happens right before the commercial, Rick just goes and just basically rips his leg right off, and they're going to take the guy back to the barn, and I think his name was Randall. So I mean, that was about that. So that was basically kind of like the last real action sequence of what went on in the actual show. Next thing is that we see Shane going to find Lori, and he actually finds the car, and he finds the dead zombies, and he gets back in the car, and he keeps driving, and he finds Lori, and he basically lies to Lori, saying that Rick is fine, Herschel's fine, Glenn's fine, let's go back home. And she agrees, and she goes back home. And that's right there, you can see that he's just after himself, and after to just have Lori and Carl. That's clearly his motive there. It doesn't matter what shape or form or whatever it is that he's trying to do. He just wants them all to himself. That's it. And I think that's what's driving him crazy. In between all this, Carol checks up on Daryl and just notices that he's just all self-centered right now. He's taken that loss from Sophia very, very hard, and Carol goes to check up on him, and he's saying to Carol, you're just scared, you don't have anybody, you don't have a daughter, you don't have this, you don't have that. And basically, I think when you look at it, I think when you reverse it around, I think it's Daryl that feels that way. Daryl doesn't have a kid, Daryl doesn't have family, Daryl doesn't have his brother, he doesn't have anybody, he's all alone, he's isolated. And when he had the girl, he felt like he had something to fight for. And now he kind of doesn't have that. And I think he's taken that very, very hard. So hopefully in the coming issues, he comes around. And the next thing I wanted to say, what the hell did T-Dog do in this episode? Dude, kill that guy. He didn't do shit this time. He said one word, I think. He said like a sentence in the whole thing. What is the guy in the show for? Get rid of T-Dog. Next is Shane and Lori have a conversation about that night, how what he did to Otis, and how Lori actually how Lori told Shane how she confessed to him that they were together, and that it was just because it was the end of the world, and it was no one else was there, and Rick was dead, and then Shane was convincing Lori that it was real, that it was meant to be, we were meant to be together. And so that's that. So Shane in his head has it that they have to be together. Next, later on in the episode, we see Beth, that she's still in this catatonic shock, and Maggie's at her bedside trying to take place of her father. and she really misses her dad, and then she misses Glenn. So I mean, it's a big deal for her. She's losing everybody all at once, so it's a big deal. Um, Next, we see as the group is just about to head into town to go look for Rick and Glenn and Herschel, Dale's like plotting against Shane about, Shane hasn't done this, he hasn't kept safe for anybody, he's doing these things out for himself, and you just keep seeing this trend. Next, right as that's about to happen, you see Rick and the guys, they bring Randall back, and he was blindfolded, so they don't know where he is, and basically they're going to fix his leg up, they're going to send him a care package and be on his way. Well, that just doesn't fly with Shane. He's just like, "Whoa, we living in a fantasy land, why they're shooting at you and you're bringing them back here? What makes you think they're not going to come back here?" And he's just all pissed off about the thing, and we have another discussion on the side with Glenn and Maggie about how Glenn basically froze up, how he was selfish, and all he could think about was Maggie, how once she said, "I loved you," that he was just thinking about her and how he couldn't lose her, and he just froze. Um, and then after that, basically we talk about Shane and Andrea, how they're the only ones that kind of think alike and how they belong together on the team while everyone else is on some other land or thinking unclearly and stuff like that. So now towards the end of the episode, not really much of a cliffhanger here in this episode, but Lori talks to Rick about Shane and how he's a threat to the group, how he's killed Otis, and he'll do anything to get to Lori, how he wants Lori to himself, how he wants that baby, and you have to find a way to stop him, and you have to do anything that you can to protect the people that you love. And basically you just see Rick's face, and he's like, and then it ends. And then you see the next preview, and it looks like that Rick and Shane are going to go down because you see a freaking headbutt that Shane gives freaking Rick. He's pop! Oh, yeah, I cannot wait for next week's episode. But my thoughts on this one, it was a good episode. It's starting to build. It's starting to build the story up. It's going to build and build and build into the season finale, and then it's going to be this big season finale, and it's going to end, and you got to wait till October again. And that's what's going to happen. And each episode is just going to get a little bit better, and there's going to be a little bit more zombie action, and a little bit more of everything else. So you just can't, even though you don't see action all the way through, you just can't. It's not about the zombies again, guys. It's about the characters, their development, how they survive in this world. And that's what makes the story so good. That's what's made the comic books back here so successful. That's what's made, that's what's going to make the show successful. And, who knows, where it's going to go from here. But that's my outtake on the show. And, supposedly, I guess Lori's okay that she's still having this baby, so well, who knows? And, oh yeah, and Carl finally finds out that, his mom's having a baby too, so good for Carl. But that's about it. So until next week, guys, for all you Walking Dead fans, I'll see you next week, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Walking Dead. So if you like what you see, subscribe to my channel, Comic Book Corner. I do Walking Dead reviews each month on the comic, and I do weekly reviews on the TV show. So subscribe to me today, and you won't be sorry. All right, so take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.